Ms. Byers, the defendant is your granddaughter.
Yes.
And who I gather you were close to and had something to do with rearing.
Yes, I did.
Until she was how old?
Possibly 14.
And then where did she go to live?
She went back to live with her mom.
And it is your claim that you made 2 loans to your granddaughter.
Yes.
You want that money back, and the 2 loans total $1,950. Your granddaughter says that these were never loans, they were never intended to be loans, that she, in fact, was a good Samaritan, took care of your nephew and your brother for a period of time in her home, and you were unable to do that. For that, she had to give up her job, and you merely subsidized her living expenses while she was doing a good deed. Is that your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so why don't you tell me when the first loan was and for what?
Okay, the first loan, it was written on November the 29th out of my checking account.
Of last year.
Yes, ma'am.
For how much?
To her landlord for $450.
Okay, so let's get to $450. That was for your rent.
Yes, ma'am.
So somehow your grandmother had to know that you were delinquent in your rent.
Yes.
And that had to be communicated to her, either in person, by phone, by email, by carrier pigeon, by smoke signals, whatever it was. You had to communicate the fact that you were going to be evicted if you didn't come up with your rent.
Yes.
And tell me how you communicated that to her.
Well, I called her. It was early November.
You called her
Yes.
on the phone?
Yes.
And said, what did you
And
say
we
to
were
her?
talking, and she could tell that I was upset anytime.
No, don't tell me what she could tell. I want you to tell me what you said to her and what she said to you, and who you were working for in November.
Yes, I was working for Jack's. It's kind of like the Jack in the Box up here, but it's called Jack's in Alabama.
And what were you doing there?
And I was a team leader. I was getting ready to be moved up to a manager.
So you were working full-time or part-time?
Yes, I was working full-time.
And who were you supporting?
My 2 kids and my husband wasn't working at the time.
And you were living with your husband?
Yes.
And how long had he been unemployed?
It was about 6 months. He was waiting on his old job to call him back. He's been back to work for about 3 months now.
So, but back in November, you had no rent money?
No.
So you called your grandmother and said?
I told her that I needed help with it, and she offered to give it to me.
No. What do you call her?
Mama.
Mama, I don't have my rent money. What I want to hear is the conversation.
Okay. Told her, I was like, Mom, I don't have my rent money, and I need help. And she said that.
She said?
She was like, well, I'll help you. And she was like, well, come up here and we'll talk about it. So I came up there, and we were talking, and she was like, well, I'll give you the rent money, just don't worry about it. Just make sure the kids are straight. I was like, okay.
So she wrote a check directly to your landlord?
Directly to my landlord.
And how does your grandmother support herself?
She is the power of attorney of her mother's husband's money, and he just retired. He was working for B.R. Williams, which is a truck service, and she is power of attorney over him, and she has access to all of his money.
How do you support yourself?
Ma'am, I am on disability/retirement.
Okay, and how much do you get every month?
I get a total of $733 for cash.
Do you have any other form of income?
Yes, ma'am. I also get $52 a month in food stamps, and that's it.
Okay. So that's not a lot of money. Do you pay rent?
No, my home is paid for, ma'am.
Do you have taxes?
No, because of my condition, I'm tax exempt.
Do you drive a car?
Yes, ma'am.
You have insurance on the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have food?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you take care of all of that on $786 a month?
$733.
Well, $733 in food stamps?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So $450 is a lot of money. All right, so she paid your rent for $450.